What's up YouTube, Silver Dragons here, and in this video I'm going to share with you 7 things that I wish I knew as a beginning silver stacker. So let's do it! Thank you so much for watching my video. I do sincerely appreciate it. If you want to learn more about investing in precious metals, or if you just want to watch awesome videos about gold and silver, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Alright, so I'm making this video because I've had a ton of people ask me, hey, I'm just getting into silver stacking, buying physical silver, buying physical gold to retain my wealth, and I've got a ton of questions, and so I'm going to try and cover most of those in this video, just talking about some of the mistakes I made, some of the things I wish I knew when I was first starting out, because if I knew some of these things, I would have done my stacking completely different, and so hopefully you can learn from some of my mistakes and maybe take some of these silver stacking tips to heart so that you can be a better stacker yourself. Alright, so number 7 is, what should I buy? Now, this is probably the question that I get asked the most, and I remember when I first started stacking, I had literally no idea what I should be picking up. I just went down to the coin store and bought whatever I could, right? So my local coin shop had generic silver rounds, they had junk silver, and they had American silver eagles. They also had some silver bars and stuff like that, but I was really only interested in the 1 ounce or smaller items. Now, I also remember wondering, should I be buying silver or should I be buying gold? Now, on that topic, I'll just say as a general rule of thumb, what you can do is look at the gold to silver ratio. If the gold to silver ratio is 80 or above, then just buy silver. If the gold to silver ratio is 60 or below, then you can start looking at buying gold. If it's somewhere in between those two numbers, then you could really buy a mixture of both. And right now, as I'm filming, it actually is in between 60 and 80. So I would say probably still go heavier on the silver because the number's on the higher side. That essentially means silver is a little bit more undervalued to gold. That's a whole topic for another video, so we're not going to get into all of that. But in regards to just buying silver, what should you be picking up? When people ask me this question, I almost always answer it the same way. Whatever is the cheapest that you'll be able to resell, no problem. So there's really that caveat that you need to include when you're buying silver. You can't just go out and buy the dirt cheapest underspot stuff that is really hard to resell. For instance, I made a video talking about sterling silver and how you get way underspot when you resell it, so not something beginners should be buying. Instead, I'd recommend buying something like junk silver. You could buy half dollars, you could buy dimes, whatever you want to get, but junk silver is typically pretty cheap and really easy to resell. Another thing is generic silver rounds. You could buy the buffaloes or whatever design. It doesn't matter what the design is. It just matters that you're buying it at a cheap price. If you want to buy coins, you could get the Krugerrands. And another thing too is buy them when they're on sale. Never pay retail price. So if you're at your local coin shop, ask if they have any deals. If you're at an online bullion dealer, then I would recommend looking at the sales and only buying that type of stuff. Some other silver coins that do really well are typically the Canadian silver maple leafs. You could also get the kangaroos from Australia. Those do very well. And then the Philharmonics do well. The American silver eagles, these do great in resellability. They're extremely easy to resell. The only problem is they've got a little bit higher of a premium right now than they used to have. So maybe stick with the other bullion coins as long as they're on the cheap side. Lastly, I'd say Britannias are really awesome to be stacking. If you can get them cheap, then load up on the Britannias. All right, number 6 is going to be where to buy. Now, there's really only 2 places I recommend buying from when you're first starting out, and that's going to be a local coin shop or an online bullion dealer. Now, what I would recommend doing if you've never been to a coin shop before is just get on Google Maps and type in coin shop or gold, silver, bullion dealer, something like that, and trying to find all the ones in your area. You can call them or you can just go down there and check their prices. Usually you can find better prices locally than you can find online because you don't have to worry about shipping or anything like that. And so I would just say, for me personally, the best deals I've ever found have been at my local coin shops. So always try there first and then go online. In regard to buying gold and silver online, you really want to stick with the large bullion dealers when you're first starting out. You've got APMEX, JM Bullion, Provident Metals, they're owned by JM Bullion. SD Bullion, they're one of my favorites. Bold, Silver Gold Bull, Monument Metals, Hero Bullion, that's a new one that's popping up. You also have Modern Coin Mart. The list goes on. I could probably name 15 or 20 different online bullion dealers that I bought from, but really try and stick with the big ones when you're first starting out. Some of those smaller bullion dealers will actually have a little bit higher prices and maybe not as good customer service. So just stick with the bigger ones when you're first starting out and you shouldn't have any issues. All right, number 5 is going to be how much to pay over spot. The guy who got me into silver stacking was actually a really big help because my local coin shop was charging $1 over spot for generics and $3 over spot for American Silver Eagles. And at the time, I had literally no idea if that was a good price or not. I was so oblivious. And so I just straight up asked him, hey, which one of these two should I buy? And he told me, you want to get as close to spot as possible. So buy the rounds. And that's what I did. I started buying silver rounds. I'm really happy I did. I was picking them up for a great price, and I was buying them closer to spot. Now, typically when you're buying coins, they are going to carry a little bit of a premium. And I actually started stacking American Silver Eagles a little bit later on because I knew that they would retain those premiums when I went to sell them. And in fact, right now, I'm really happy that I stacked a lot of Eagles because the premiums have gone up through the roof. But honestly, what he told me still is true today. Try and pay as close to spot as you possibly can. So if there's sales on different things, $1 over spot, $2 over spot, then it's probably a pretty good deal. So just look at the spot price, for silver and try and get as close to it as you can. As far as gold is concerned, gold's a whole nother animal. Really, you want to keep the percentage over spot pretty low. And so if you could keep it under 4 or 5% over spot, you're not doing too bad for gold. Silver typically has a little bit higher premiums than gold because, 70 silver coins is going to cost a lot more to make than one gold coin. And so obviously they're going to have higher premiums. But really, if you keep it as close to spot as possible, you'll be doing all right. All right, number 4 is going to be when to buy. Now, for me personally, this really wasn't an issue when I first started because I would just go down to the coin shop whenever I could afford to buy another ounce. I was stacking it 1 ounce at a time. That's right. But if a lot of you are buying online, well, you're probably going to want to wait till you can at least afford the free shipping, which is going to be at the $100 mark. Some of them, it's a little bit higher of a tier, but here in the USA, a lot of the bullion dealers, if you can get to $100, you're probably going to get free shipping. So I would just say, wait until then. Now, if you already have a savings that's built up and you're converting that into precious metals, well, then you're probably going to be buying maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks. Don't make a really huge purchase all at once. Try and space it out over time so you get an average price. You might hit some of the peaks, you might hit some of the dips, but overall it's going to average and you're going to be okay in the long run. So I highly recommend dollar cost averaging, but if you're like me and you're just buying 1 ounce at a time, then that's a great way to do it as well. Buy when you can afford it. All right, number 3 is going to be where to store your precious metals. I've been asked this question constantly. Silver Dragons, I've been buying all these silver coins. I've been buying all these gold coins. They're worth a ton of money and I don't want them to be stolen. Where should I actually be putting all of this stuff? Now, there's great places to store your precious metals, there's okay places, and then there's terrible places to store your precious metals. We're going to go from best to worst. The absolute best place to store your precious metals is going to be in a heavy, hidden safe. So you got heavy, so even if someone were to find it, it'd be really hard to move. And you also have hidden, hard to find, right? So if you have like a safe room or a hidden room or something like that, and you just got this massive safe in there, that's a great place to store. Now, in my opinion, the next best place to store it would be in just a heavy safe. I'm talking a heavy safe, bolted down to the ground in your house. Now, it doesn't have to be out in the open, right? You can put a sheet over it. It can be in a closet, wherever it is. Usually this will be a gun safe or something like that. But if it's in a really heavy safe, it's probably going to be hard for someone to get into. So if a burglar comes in, just a smash and grab type operation, they're probably not going to be able to get into it. So that's what I would recommend. Now, the third best place is going to be in a hidden area. So maybe you have a smaller hidden safe, or you have a specific area where you like to keep it. You know, don't keep your precious metals out in the open. Don't keep them in a shoebox in your closet. Make sure it's a really good hiding place. I'm not going to suggest a bunch of different places in this video because maybe someone watching this video would have the wrong intentions and then go look in all of these places. But really think about where a burglar would look and don't hide it there, okay? So be very good with your hiding place if that's your strategy. Now, if none of those options work for you, you can keep it in the bank, or you can have it vaulted somewhere else. These I actually do not recommend because if there's any sort of emergency or something like that, you're not going to be able to get to them. You're not going to be able to access them. And this is real money here. You want to be able to get to it if you ever need to. If you ever need to leave for some reason, you want to be able to grab it and go. So I don't really recommend storing it away from you, but if you have to, I guess the next best places would be in a bank or vaulted somewhere. All right, number 2 is going to be how to tell if my precious metals are real or if they are fake. Now, you don't want to be the guy that's like, yeah, I bought some silver coins, bought some gold coins. They look real, so they're probably real. You don't want to be that guy. Trust, but verify. Always verify. Make sure that the bullion you're buying is legit, because if it's not, you want to right away be able to take it back to the coin shop or the bullion dealer or whatever and actually exchange it for something that is real. Sometimes, now I'm not saying this happens all the time, but sometimes a coin shop or a bullion dealer will sell you something and they think it's real themselves, or maybe they didn't take the time to check it or whatever. And if that's the case, you should probably go somewhere else for your future business. But either way, you definitely need to check everything yourself. So the easiest way to tell if stuff is real or fake when you're first starting out, and this is extremely cheap, is do the magnet test and weigh it. Those are the 2 tests that I used when I was first starting out. So get yourself a cheap scale like this one here. So what I'm going to do is actually weigh a 1 ounce silver coin, and we will see if it's real or fake based on the weight. All right, so we're weighing our Britannia. Now we're in troy ounces. That's OZT, and it weighs 1.003. So right now this is telling me this coin is real. It's legitimate. It is right around the weight it's supposed to be. Now, you don't want it to be under the weight, but it can be exactly right or slightly over. That's a really good sign. Now, the next test you're going to want to do is the magnet test. When it comes to actually buying a magnet, just make sure you're buying a rare earth magnet that's super powerful. You don't want to buy one of those like craft magnets that's not really going to stick to anything. I'll give you an example here. This is the magnet I first bought. I'm still using it today. And if we take this knife out, we can see it is super powerful. See that? See how hard that is to pull off there? So really powerful magnet. Let's touch it to the Britannia and see if it's legit. Doesn't stick to it at all. So we know that it passes the magnet test, it passes the weight test, it's probably real. And then if you have a coin that it does stick to, then it's a fake coin. This is a fake American Silver Eagle. So there you go. Now, if you're buying a ton of gold coins or a lot of bulk gold and silver, I would recommend getting a Sigma Metalytics Precious Metals Verifier. Mine has been really awesome for verifying different things that I've been buying. We have it set up for American Gold Eagles here. We're going to place one on and see what it says. It's legit. Awesome. So these are great if you're going to be buying a lot of stuff. If you're not going to be buying a ton, then just go with the magnet and the scale and you should be totally fine. All right, that brings us to number 1, and that is how to price junk silver. Oh my goodness, when I first started, for the life of me, I could not figure it out. People are throwing out numbers like 10x face value or 11x, and those would be really good prices if you could pay that now. But back then, I had no idea what they were talking about. And I actually do get asked this question quite a bit. So I made a video. It's called The Ultimate Guide to Buying Junk Silver. If you want to watch that video, I talk about all things junk silver. I'll put a link up in the corner as well as a link down below in the description. But for the purposes of this video, if you want the formula, it's just for every dollar face value, you need to times it by 1.4. So if someone is saying the junk silver is going to cost 20x face, then you'd be looking at $28 an ounce. Again, watch my video because I break it down in great detail and really help you understand the price of junk silver, because I think that is just really hard for people to wrap their brains around. And if you don't even know what junk silver is, it's half dollars and dimes and quarters that are from 1964 or older. These are all 90% silver. And it's called junk silver not because they're saying that these are junk, but because it's not pure. It's 90%. So that's why it's called junk silver. But anyway, what do you think about the video? Do you have any questions for me? Did I cover everything that you wanted me to cover? If not, leave a comment down below, and I try and get to all the comments and respond to them, so please let me know. If you're just getting into silver stacking, or even if you've been doing it for a while, what is one question that you do not know the answer to, and I will try my best to answer it. Anyway, I do want to say a massive thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Silver Dragons out.